Pharmacist Ben.
AJ, what's up, my friend?
How,
Good to see
how,
you.
it's fantastic that I'm able to be with you for another episode.
All right.
Pharmacist Ben's Bytes.
I love it.
So,
Where are we live these days? Just Rumble?
well, Rumble today was having an issue. So today
Okay.
we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter.
Okay. Well, hello, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter, and AJ.
Thank you. All right. So, Ben, today we thought we'd talk about. I'll give you the exact title. It's kind of a smackdown between pills and nutrients. So it's called the supplement versus medication smackdown.
Okay.
Pills versus thrills. So I'm
How
wondering.
cute. You made that up, I take it. That's very cute.
I got my friend AI also. But what do you?
Okay.
But, in all seriousness, what do you think about the interaction between nutrition and medication?
Medication is like Darth Vader with a lightsaber, and nutrition is like mom's apple pie. One is soft and gentle and kind and respectful, and the other is dominating and evil and high tech and monstrous and satanic and compelling, forcing. In the Bible, there's a really interesting story about Moses and the children of Israel. Moses didn't get to go to the promised land. Do you know your Bible at all?
Yes, sir.
So, Moses didn't get to go to the promised land. Joshua took the children of Israel to the promised land, but Moses did all the work. So why was it that Moses didn't get to go to the promised land and Joshua did? Do you remember?
Because he struck the stone 2 times.
Bingo. God said, ask the rock. And Moses hit the rock. Drugs hit the rock. Nutrition asks the rock. Nutrition doesn't do anything that the cell does not want to do. Let me say that again because it's really important. Nutrition does not do anything that the cell does not want to do. Nutrition simply enhances and amplifies biochemistry that is ordinarily occurring. Drugs are the opposite. They hit the rock. They tell the rock what to do. They represent us saying, in essence, you stupid cell, I know better than you. I'm going to tell you what to do. You don't tell me what to do. I'm the boss here because I'm the medical professional. I tell you what to do. You don't tell me what to do. Nutrition's the opposite. Nutrition just says, here, manja, eat, relax, take some you know what I'm saying? It's kind and gentle. And this is a very important distinction because a lot of times the medical models will use the criteria that they use for drugs to assess the value of nutrients. And they'll say things like, oh, we gave vitamin E to that gentleman who had heart disease and it didn't cure his heart disease. Vitamin E is a waste of time. Don't waste your money. They feel okay saying that because nutrients don't have the same kind of intensive, potent, powerful, dominating effect. They're kind and they're gentle, and they enhance and they balance and they feed and they sustain chemical reactions that are already or are supposed to be occurring. Drugs shut them down. This is why we have anti-drugs, inhibiting drugs, blocking drugs, suppressing drugs. Our drugs are all about artificially, exogenously manipulating cellular behaviors. But here's the thing. Nutrients are incorporated into cellular biochemistry. Drugs have to be detoxified. Drugs are recognized as poisons by the body, by the cells. So they have to be cleaned out. They have to be eliminated. And that elimination process and that cleaning out process requires nutrients. So even if you're not using nutrients for your health challenge, you're using nutrients to get rid of the darn drugs that you're taking, which, by the way, increases the likelihood of nutrient deficiencies that may have been responsible for the problem in the first place. You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And these toxicities and side effects never show up on a as a side effect on the list of side effects and adverse reactions. So you could, vitamin C is very important for detoxification at the level of the liver. So is copper, so is magnesium, so is zinc. So just take zinc, for example. You take your Accutane for your acne, which could be caused by zinc deficiency. You take your Accutane, and now that Accutane has to be cleared out by the liver using zinc, which you're deficient in the first place. It's causing the problem. This is the stupidity of it. Now, to make matters, to expand on that, while drugs have to be detoxified and eliminated, costing us precious nutritional resources that we may not have, nutrients are not only incorporated into biochemistry, they're not only incorporated into the body structure itself, but because nutrients have multiple roles to play in the body, instead of side effects, you get beneficial effects. So you take your vitamin C, say, for your immune system. Vitamin C is very important for the immune system. Well, you get better joints. You get better heart health. You get better vascular health. You get better skin cell health. You get multiple beneficial effects in addition to the reason that you took the vitamin C for, albeit it affects your condition at a gentler and less intense way than a drug. But you still get the benefits for what you're taking the vitamin C for. Say, for example, you're taking your vitamin C for your immune system. But instead of adverse reactions and side effects, you get beneficial reactions and beneficial effects, a wide range of them, because nutrients are incorporated into dozens, if not hundreds, maybe perhaps even thousands of different biochemical reactions that are going to be supported by the vitamin C that you're taking for your immune system. You follow what I'm saying? So instead of toxicity and side effects, you get beneficial effects. Let me say one more thing, AJ, if you don't mind. A lot of times people will say, oh, are these nutrients going to interfere with my drugs? Which I find very fascinating. It's like saying, oh, is this healthy stuff going to interfere with my poison? That's what I think when I hear somebody say that. It's ludicrous. But physicians and representatives of the medical model are trained in pharmacology. They're not trained in nutrition. So when they see nutrition, they immediately think drugs. They don't see nutrients as kind and gentle. They see them as another version of drugs. That's why they feel comfortable saying, oh, there's no proof that vitamin E is good for your brain. There's no proof that zinc is important for the skin. There's no proof. They feel comfortable saying that because they're judging the efficacy and the potency of a nutritional supplement the way, using the criteria they do for a drug. And that's not how nutrients work. It also allows them to feel comfortable saying, don't take your vitamin C. It may interfere with your chemotherapy. In other words, they see the nutrients as the enemy because they're constantly seeing drugs. They're constantly looking at drugs, which they know are the enemy. They know drugs are powerful, toxic substances, and make no mistake about it. They are toxic substances that are used because of their toxicity. Their toxicity is leveraged, is taken advantage of. So, for example, you have a beta blocker drug. A beta blocker drug, you've heard of the term beta blockers, right? Like metoprolol, yes, for example, is a beta blocker. A beta blocker drug works by blocking the energy, the electrical energy that goes into a specific pathway, neural pathway in the heart. So it shuts the heart down, slows the heart down. Under any other circumstances than a doctor giving you a beta blocker, you call it a poison because it's shutting down your heart. But because the doctor's controlling it and the dose is being controlled, that poison is now being leveraged for its ability to slow down the heart. Slowing down the heart is considered a toxic effect under ordinary circumstances. But when you have a heart disease or high blood pressure, or you have blood clots, or you have arrhythmias or fibrillations or tachycardia, that toxicity, that slowing down the heart that would ordinarily be considered a toxic effect is now considered a beneficial effect. You follow what I'm saying?
I do.
Because it's kind of monitored and it's controlled. So if you are on a drug, and there are times you want to take a drug, okay? I'm not Pollyannish about this. I'm a pharmacist. I'm trained in medicine. And there are times you want a drug. for sure. And I always tell a story. We don't have time to tell it now, but suffice it to say, when I got out of surgery for my knee, I was very happy there was morphine there. And I can tell you, everybody should have pain pills in their medicine cabinet, because you never know when you're going to want a pain pill. And praise God that we have pain pills. Okay. Antibiotics, and they have, they're not without problems themselves, but they save lives and life expectancy has increased. However, the vast majority of drugs should be used only when necessary and eliminated when not. So if you have high blood pressure and it's going crazy, take a beta blocker, take a diuretic, take a antihypertensive, whatever it is, but simultaneous with it, take niacin and magnesium and reduce your blood sugar and exercise and do all the good things. And your number one health challenge should be to wean yourself off the beta blocker and get healthier using non-toxic protocols and healthy protocols that will give you multiple benefits. The vast majority of conditions that we take medications for are in the realm of what is called chronic degenerative disease. Chronic degenerative disease is an aberration. It only occurs when we abuse the biological system with sugar, with stress, with cigarettes, with lousy food, with too much food, with all the things that we abuse our bodies with. There's a price to be paid. But we don't see our lifestyles as being at the cause of our health challenges, because we're led to believe that you don't have to worry about your lifestyle because we have a drug for that. In the old days, by old days, like in the Middle Ages and in the Dark Ages, before the Middle Ages, they used to say, the priests would say, don't worry, do whatever you want. We talk to God. We got you covered. You can go ahead and do whatever you want. Just give us your house, give us a tenth of your income, and we got your back. We're going to talk to God for you. You can just go ahead and live your life. Well, that's silly, obviously. But today we have medical priests who say, don't worry about that chocolate. There's never been proof that chocolate causes acne. Don't worry about that pizza. Don't worry about that McDonald's. Don't worry about your lifestyle, because we got your back. We got a drug for that, and you'll be fine. Or we can just take out that silly little gallbladder that's causing you all that problem, and you don't have to worry, and then we'll just put you on some medicine that'll replace the gallbladder. Or we'll just take your female organs out and we'll just put you on hormones. Or we'll just take your thyroid out and we'll put you on a thyroid hormone. And this is the kind of thinking that not only are the medical professionals immersed in, but by extension, so are we. And by we, I mean the general public. The general public believes the doctor will take care of them and they can eat whatever they want. I often tell a story where I was during that whole viral craziness where everybody was wearing masks and everybody was staying away from each other and blah, 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 social distancing. And I was at a Safeway, and there was this elderly couple. I mean, they were wearing masks, so I could tell they were elderly. I couldn't tell exactly how old, but they were wearing masks. And the husband was holding up a big bottle of Pepsi, one of those huge bottles, I don't know, 64 ounce, and a huge bottle of Coke. And he said, which one should we get? He was talking to his wife. Which one should we get? But he was wearing a mask. He was wearing a mask, though, so he was good. The Coke and Pepsi had nothing to do with anything, right? This is the thinking. And everybody's wearing masks, and everybody was social distancing, staying in the house, blah, 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 getting injected. But the lines at Chick-fil-A were longer than ever. The lines at Taco Bell were longer than ever, because we have a disconnect between how we live our lives and how our body shows up, for better or worse. And so drugs are iconic or representative of that disconnect, that idea that we can poison ourselves back to health. And I'm saying this as a pharmacist. And again, there are times you need drugs. But if you're on a drug for a long-term chronic degenerative disease, your number one health challenge should be to figure out how to wean yourself off those drugs and wean yourself into a healthy lifestyle.
A lot to think about, Ben. I had a question.
Yeah.
That you sort of addressed, but what I guess the crux of what I'm trying to get at is two things. One, there's a place for the drugs. Is there a period of time that you think is a cap on when they should be used? Okay.
As short as as little as possible. If it's just in the hospital, that's great. If it's a week after you get out of the hospital, that's a week. The longer you take a prescription, this is how you want to think about it, AJ, to answer your question. The longer you subject your body to the burden of getting rid of a drug, of dealing with a poison, a toxin, the more damaging the effect is going to be. So a year is worse than 6 months, is worse than 3 months, is worse than 3 weeks, is worse than 3 days. And you just got to figure it out along those lines. Now, if you are on a prescription drug, this is really important what I'm going to say now. If you are on a prescription drug, it behooves you to make sure you're on a nutritional supplement program. People on drugs need nutrients more than people not on drugs. We all need them. But people on drugs are subjecting their body to this burden that's, as I say, is draining nutritional resources, which are being used to detoxify that drug. And that's how you want to look at it. A drug is a necessary evil sometimes. Sometimes. We way overuse them. But sometimes they're a necessary evil. And if you're on a prescription drug, you got to figure out how to wean yourself off by putting nutrients in. It's like, you've done radio. I think you've done radio before, and you work with sound. Have you ever done this? Where you turn the dial down on one and the dial up on the other, or the dial up and dial down like this, like the DJ does? That's what you're doing. You're turning the dial down on the drug and up on the nutrients, right? So you're replacing the drug eventually with the nutrient, and you're doing it gradually. Now, if you're on a prescription drug, though, there are tools you can use to mitigate the toxicity and to reduce the side effects and to make the drug work better.
Such as?
You will make your drug work stronger, such as which one? If you're on, here's an example. If you're on an antihypertensive, which are among the most toxic drugs that we have, which is saying something. So we'll say you're on a calcium channel, but we'll say you're on a beta blocker. We're talking about beta blockers, metoprolol. So you're on a beta blocker. If you're on a beta blocker and now you start adding in niacin and magnesium and the B complex, you will notice that your blood pressure is dropping more than it was when you were just on the metoprolol, and then you can wean yourself off the metoprolol. The nutrients will make your drugs work better, and they'll allow you to lower your dose on your meds.
Okay,
you see what I'm saying?
Ben, what about the metformin?
All right, metformin. So you're hearing about metformin, I understand.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's asking about metformin. That is, to me, that's such a funny subject, not in a ha-ha way, but in an ironic way. Okay, remember we talked on our last Daily with Doc program. I said we have the triangle of disease, but we're going to shorten it. Remember I said we're going to shorten it to the plane disease. The plane. That's not quite as catchy as the triangle. We got to come up with another term. But for years, I was talking about the triangle of disease because I noticed these 3 points that always underlie, substandard or were underneath health challenges, no matter what they were. You always found digestive distress. You always found blood sugar issues, dysglycemia, whether or not diabetes was diagnosed, dysglycemia, messed up blood sugar. And there was always a degree of hypothyroidism and adrenal duress, cortisol and hypothyroidism. There was always those. And then I started reading, I started studying on top of that. And I read Dr. Broda Barnes' book called The Hypothyroidism, the Hidden Illness, or something along those lines. And he talked about hypothyroidism being beneath everything. And I started to add up everything. I started to see how important blood sugar control was. And I started to put it all together. I realized that these 3 points need to be addressed, or you're not going to be able to deal with your heart disease, your cancer, your acne, or your psoriasis, or your Parkinson's, or whatever it is. But if you do address those 3 points of the triangle of disease, also other symptoms would start to get better. And it worked. I started using this. I started talking about it. But then I realized, I start to think, as easy as it is to me, the 3 points of the triangle of disease, this is my business and I study this. So it's still even too complicated. So I got rid of the 3rd point of the triangle. I call it now the plane of disease or the horizon of disease. I don't know. We have to come up with a name.
Horizon of health.
We have to come up with the name. I don't know what we're going to call it. But it's only 2 points. And these are the 2 points of bodily breakdown, the only 2 points of bodily breakdown that you need to address, not only to reduce the impact of chronic degenerative disease and ultimately to reverse it, not cure it, but reverse it. But even if you're not sick, to add years to your life, to improve your quality of life as you age. And that is the digestive system and the blood sugar system. What metformin does is it works on that 2nd point of the triangle of disease. It helps stabilize blood sugar. It lowers blood sugar. The reason it worked, the reason somebody would take metformin is if they have diabetes. It's only used for people who have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance syndrome. It's a drug. But because blood sugar is a major blood sugar control is a major biochemical process that determines overall health and longevity, now people are getting the idea, mostly medical professionals and the drug companies, it's basically the drug companies that make metformin, they're saying, well, hey, we know the lower your insulin and the more stable your blood sugar, the longer you live. So now we're going to remarket metformin as an anti-aging drug. It's basically the second point on the triangle of disease. They're corroborating what I've been saying for years, how important dysglycemia is as a marker for poor health or poor aging. So what they're saying is you don't need to have diabetes to benefit from the blood sugar control of metformin. You could just use it for anti-aging. Well, of course, that's stupidity because it's a poison. You're subjecting your body to toxin, but the point is very good. And that is that by controlling blood sugar and insulin, you can slow down the movement or the activities of the body. See, the body likes calm, relaxed. It's like the animals that live the longest are not the mice and the rodents. They're the elephants. They're the big animals and the reptiles, the turtles, the tortoises. Why? They're slow. You move slowly and powerfully, right? Rodents are fast metabolism. That burns you out. What sugar does and insulin is they speed things up. Sugar and insulin, they go together, right? And actually, sometimes people have normal sugar, but their insulin's high, and they'll think everything's good, but they don't realize their insulin's high, and insulin's just as bad. So both sugar and insulin tell cells to grow. They are pro-growth molecules. Insulin in particular is a growth hormone. It initiates the growth of things. When I was back in my bodybuilding days and weightlifting days in the gym, there was a guy who would drive around the station wagon, and he would sell the bodybuilders and the weightlifters insulin because insulin made them bigger. Insulin is a feeding hormone. It feeds cells. It feeds cells sugar, and it feeds cells nutrients. It's a feeding substance. And when cells see food, and they don't see hamburgers and hot dogs, they see vitamin C and vitamin A and what we call the mighty 9 essential nutrients. When cells see nutrients and when cells see sugar, they think all is right in the world. The cell doesn't know what's going on outside. It can only read the molecules, right? So it sees the vitamins and it sees the nutrients and it sees the sugar and it says, wow, life is good. Let's divide. Let's start making things. But the problem is, if you just have the sugar and not the nutrients, you cannot sustain the growth. You will start to produce sick cells. You will produce dysfunctional cells. You will ultimately be producing tired, stressed out cells that will die. Or even worse, you'll be producing stressed out cells that will revert back in time from an evolutionary perspective and start dividing really rapidly and become cancer. And insulin, make no mistake about it, insulin is a cancer-inducing substance if it's elevated and within the right context. Obviously, it's an important hormone. It's a biochemical. It's not going to cause cancer in and of itself. But within the right context, if you take a breast cell and put insulin next to it in a petri dish, that breast cell, the odds of that breast cell becoming cancerous go up dramatically. So insulin speeds things up. What we want to do with the body is we want to slow things down, relax. The body likes torque. It's kind of like on your bicycle, right? There's two ways to get power on your bicycle. If you want to go up a hill, you can go like this, or you can lower the gear and get more torque, right? What do you think is better? What do you think is better for the bicycle? What is better for your legs? What is better for your body? Your body wants torque, not speed. Speed ages us. Speed increases the likelihood of breakdown and cancer. Speed is not what you're looking for. You're looking for torque, power. where every little movement gives you a lot of power. That's leverage. That's what nutrition gives you. Nutrition gives you leverage. It allows every little biochemical process to have a much bigger and more amplified impact. And that's why nutrition is so important. And when we call the Mighty 9 essential nutrients, really, if we lived in a perfect world, we wouldn't need the Mighty 9 essential nutrients. We could go, eat food, which is how the Lord intended it. But we don't live in the Garden of Eden any longer. And our food system is utterly corrupt because of politics and money. And the soils are deprived of minerals, and everything comes from the minerals. So for so many reasons, not to mention our fast-paced lifestyle and our ignorance and food processing, all the things we do to our foods, we don't get these raw materials, and our cells are trying to get by. Now, the thing is, and this is what makes it so a little bit insidious and sneaky, is the body and cells can get by with just a minimum amount of nutrients. You can muddle along, and you won't know, and most of us set the bar so low on what's possible, we're okay. I talked to a lady today. I couldn't believe it. She showed me a picture of her son. Her son had the worst case of not acne, but acne-like lesions I'd ever seen in my life. And I've been doing this for 40 years. And, I've seen all kinds of things on skin. I'm in the skin business. Head to I didn't see his beneath his waist, but head to his waist, just covered with acne. It wasn't acne, blemish it, or it was a rash. She called it acne. It wasn't acne. She was going to the dermatologist, which was what most of us do. And this lady told me, I said, what other health conditions does he have? She told me he's completely healthy. That's what she told me. She said he's healthy. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know what to say. But I had to say something because it's important. This kid he's only 17.
How's your gut, buddy?
Nothing. His gut's fine. Perfect. No problems. Plus he's autistic. And then come to find out as we're talking, oh yeah, he's autistic. Oh yeah, he's constipated, chronically constipated. But we don't know. We don't make these connections. Nobody's telling us. That's why being on this call is so important, AJ. That's what you and I are doing, and Rebecca and Dr. Wallach and all the folks in longevity and everybody listening to this. That's what we're doing. We're spreading the news. We're spreading the word because people don't know. And the people listening to this program and our friends and people in longevity are just like 0.00001% of the population. 99.999999% really doesn't know. Maybe you could throw in a extra percent for people who are participating in health, but maybe not supplements. So the vast majority of people don't know, don't make this connection. We don't understand that the body is designed to heal. And if you're dealing with a chronic degenerative disease, the only reason that's occurring is because we're not handling the body elegantly or artistically. We're not doing it correctly. And so all we have to do is understand how to do it correctly. And it's not that hard, you guys. The Mighty 9 essential nutrients. Reduce your caloric intake. Hydrate more. Breathe more. Make sure that you're getting a modicum, doesn't even have to be a lot, of exercise to where you're pushing yourself. You're somehow getting out of your comfort zone physically. And then, of course, and we don't talk about this anywhere near enough, in my opinion, spiritual, mental, and emotional, all those elements have to be addressed as well. And that's really what health is. And the reward for all of that is you feel good. You have energy. You're not hungry all the time. You're not able to sleep. You don't have insomnia. You're able to function. You live a long life and you have a high quality of life. That's the reward for the work that it takes, which it is a little bit of effort to do it, to not eat foods that for a little bit you feel compelled to eat. And by the way, nutritional deficiency can help you wean, or nutritional supplementation can help you wean off of sugar. It can help you wean off of fats, fried fats, and it can help you wean off of salty foods. So using nutritional supplements is a strategy for weaning yourself off of foods and food components like sugar and salt and fried fats that we know are problematic.
Ben, real quick, because I know time is short.
You have a hard stop. I could go forever. Don't blame
me. Oh, you're going to put it on me? That's great. We're just going to go. We're going to go all night now.
Throw AJ under the bus here.
Set yourself up now.
AJ told me.
He said, okay, so John says, unfortunately, I think most Americans do know. They don't care. That's not the comment time. So now Lavonda says she was on blood pressure meds. She taken the pills, and that was the only thing that brought it down from 177 under 200 to down to 177. She got off her blood pressure meds for a year. Her blood pressure medication remained elevated. She doesn't know what to do, and she forgot to say that she's taking some supplements from Dr. Wallach and is still taking them.
There's a lot of blood pressure represents the body trying to deliver nutrients to area, to specific areas. Think about what blood pressure is, elevated blood pressure. When you pretend this is a garden hose, right? And water's going through the garden hose, right? If I close the blood vessels, what's going to happen to the water? It's going to come out with higher pressure, right? Can you see that?
Yep.
So it comes out with a certain pressure here, but it's like when you squeeze the garden hose, like that. It represents the body's attempt to deliver nutrients, to redirect nutrients to certain parts of the body. When there is chronic inflammation in the body, is it with Laverne was the gal's name?
Lavonda, yep.
Lavonda, I'm sorry. Lavonda. When there is chronic inflammation in the body will not be able to push that blood to the area, and it's going to raise the pressure. High blood pressure is caused by the same thing that causes every other dysfunction in the body, every one of them. Inflammation. Inflammation is a word we hear all the time. We throw it around without even knowing what the heck we're talking about, right? You can't go 5 minutes or 1 minute on a health program without hearing the word inflammation. It's everything. So what is inflammation? We should know if it's everything. Inflammation is a protective response. It represents the body trying to protect itself. So the question, what is it protecting itself from? It could be a million things. It's usually the bad guys, though. Sugar, which is why dysglycemia, messed up blood sugar, is always associated with high blood pressure. And toxicity that come in from food, and a leaky gut, toxins that come in from a leaky gut, and elevated body fat. All of these are the leading causes of inflammation, as well as the leading causes of hypertension. So for our friend Lavonda, did I say that right? Lavonda?
You did.
Lavonda, what's your body fat at? All right, what's your height to weight at? Where's your blood sugar? Not even your blood sugar too, but also your insulin. Where's your insulin at? Do you have digestive health issues? You don't just have hypertension. Nobody just has hypertension. It's always a response to something. It's an inflammatory response, which represents a defensive response. Look for foods, look for digestive health, look for dysglycemia or correct dysglycemia. What is that? What do we call that, by the way? Digestive health and dysglycemia? The plane of disease. Horizontal, the horizon of disease. And if you really want to go all out, Lavonda, the third point too, because stress hormone will also raise blood pressure. There's a phenomenon called white coat hypertension. Have you ever heard of this? White coat hypertension, right? Your blood pressure is good, but when the doctor comes in, it goes up, right? Because high blood pressure is associated with the stress response. Cortisol will raise your blood pressure. Sugar will raise your blood pressure. Insulin will raise your blood pressure. Digestive toxicity, toxins leaking into the bloodstream through a leaky gut will raise your blood pressure. So all of these factors have to be addressed. Blood pressure is not the problem. Blood pressure is a sign of the problem. Blood pressure is like the light going off on your car, the dashboard light. I don't want to say what it's called because I don't want to offend anybody, but you know what I'm talking about. The light that's on the dashboard that says your engine, you're running out of oil or your engine's too hot. Well, sure, we can take a hammer and hit the light. Oh, we don't see the light anymore, right? Oh, I took that medicine, and now I don't have any high blood pressure because I smashed the light. But your inflammation's still there. Your dysglycemia is still there. Your digestive, whatever the digestive condition that's causing problems, still there. Your elevated cortisol is still there, and you're still shortening your life. So yes, the blood pressure is a problem, and you do have to lower your blood pressure, and sometimes antihypertensives are necessary. By the way, high blood pressure is one of the leading causes of kidney disease. High blood pressure is one of the leading causes of cholesterol deposits. Cholesterol deposits and fatty deposits are used to protect the vessels because the pressure is so high. When the pressure is super high in the vessel wall can become weak, so it will patch itself up with various molecules to make it stronger. It will also sometimes divide the cells of the lining will also divide rapidly in response to the hypertension. So these are problems that need to be addressed. And if you need an antihypertensive, you should get on it. The diuretics are probably the safest ones, the gentlest ones. But while you're doing your medication, start taking some nutrients. The Mighty 90 essential nutrients is the base. You don't want to just spot treat. You don't want to just spot treat your hypertension. You need the Mighty 90 essential nutrients. But that being said, magnesium is associated with a drop in blood pressure, and niacin is associated with a drop in blood pressure, and thiamine has antihypertensive properties. And there's nutrients that you could use, chromium, vanadium for your blood sugar, and selenium for your blood sugar. There's ways that you can nutritionally support your high blood pressure or reduce your high blood pressure while you're on your meds, and then gradually wean yourself off the meds, like the little dials, like that. Yes, sir.
So, Ben, I just want to translate what you just said into YGY speak.
Yes.
You said per 100 pounds of body weight, a healthy body start pack, ultimate niacin plus, and the sweeties. Now, that's what you said just now.
Okay, so sweeties, ultimate niacin, healthy brain and heart pack, osteomag. I saw one yesterday. I'm trying to think of which one that was. That had a super high dose of thiamine. I loved it. And I'm trying to think which one that was.
Thiamine?
Oh, the Cardio FX. Cardio FX. Nitric oxide, by the way. You've heard of nitric oxide? Cardio Beats.
Uh-huh.
Is Cardio Beats? What's our beat product? What's the beat product we have?
We have the Cardio FX. The Cardio FX does, but the Tangy Tangerine also has a new beat formula in the 2.5.
Beats for nitric oxide. Arginine. You've heard of arginine?
Yes, sir.
Remember we were talking about how multifunctional these nutrients are. Arginine is not only great for building nitric oxide, which is an important vasodilator, opens up blood vessels, but it's also really important for growth hormone, for anti-aging. Arginine is used in burn wards to help stimulate the growth of tissue. I use arginine in skincare products, topical arginine. Arginine is important for moisturization of the skin. Arginine is just a phenomenal building molecule. Bodybuilders use arginine. It's great for men who are dealing with erectile dysfunction, and also as an antihypertensive because of I don't want to say antihypertensive, but just to help lower high blood pressure because of its ability to support the production of nitric oxide.
Ben, is there something else that you want to touch on for the folks before we depart them?
No, because we're going to do this again. We'll do this a couple more days. Are people watching these things? Or me and you just talking to ourselves and Lavonda?
Well, it's just us, but people are watching. People are for sure watching.
All right. Because it's all about the people.
It is.
God bless the people. I said this in my talk on Saturday. You ever hear Jean-Paul Sartre? He's a philosopher. Sartre said, hell is other people. I say heaven is other people.
Well, you're the eternal optimist, Ben, and we love you for it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, AJ. All right, my friend.
See everyone next time.